All right. You all missed some of the most important words that ever came out of my mouth. I do apologize for that. That's my mistake. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you all to know that Donald Trump has made it abundantly clear of his desire for repudiation and condemnation of the actions of terrorist groups like white supremacists, the KKK, and others. We played that video for you. We'll play it for you again at the end of my interview with Dave Milner. But what you won't hear from the left and those who have been hoodwinked, bamboozled by the mainstream media, the yellow journalists out there, is that Donald Trump is pro-white supremacist. He clearly states in the interview, in his speech there, he isn't. So why does he have to say it over and over again? Because they want you to believe that he's a racist. When the most racist person on any stage on any given day is Joe Biden. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce to you one of America's elite conservative commentators. You can find him on Thursdays and Sundays at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time with English Defense League on Blog Talk Radio. And in addition to that, you find him as the Unpleasant Blind Guy on shrmedia.com. He is a tremendous, tremendous writer and as well a great orator, none other than my very good friend, Dave Milner. Good evening, sir. It's a great honor and privilege to have you on the air with us tonight.
Man, it's an honor and a pleasure to be here with you, Ken. It's going to be nice for a few minutes to be together to mansplain some things to some people. And just want to briefly pull you back in time a little bit to that wonderful podcast that Dan Butcher did on Sunday night. I mean, it was a tremendous time. Some very special podcast hosts, including yourself, Dan, of course.
Thank you.
And the professor were there, and it was really great. And when I think I was the first one to call in, and I was the first one in the studio, and Dan picks up the line and says, "Is this Ken McClinton?" And I said, "No, I'm white."
And I bet you Dave said, "Well, that's why I asked."
A tremendous night, but there's one thing that none of you guys knew. All right, that was last Sunday. Last Saturday, I turned 61. So It was a real blessing to get to talk to you. What a birthday present that was.
Happy belated birthday to you, man. I did not know that. You're 61. Congratulations.
Well, thank you, man. Thank you. I beat it. I always said that I'm living on my own, so that means I can eat the food I want, I can drink the drinks I want, and if I happen to croak when I'm 60, well, that's okay. So I made it to 61, so I guess the Lord needs me here for a little bit longer.
Yes, he does, to spread the good news of conservatism to the world. What say you, sir, regarding yesterday's Life Fest from Kamala Harris? Okay, forgive me, I prejudiced that question as if I was a moderator for one of the debates. Let me put it another way. Did you find the fairy tales that she told exciting and new?
Absolutely not. It's just repackaging of the same old stuff that we've heard for my God, that I've been listening to for half a century. But it was an interesting debate in that it was almost like the Kennedy-Nixon debate was, which I'm too young even to have seen that one live, but of course everybody has heard of it. Now, I have a slightly different spin on the winner and the loser than some other people have. Some other people said that the one who had more to prove was Mike Pence, because he was the vice president. Okay, and I felt that he had more to prove as well, but I contexted things in a different way than the rest of them did.
Okay.
Because we have to be honest, while Mike Pence is definitely a facts kind of guy, he is a real facts kind of dude. He's got the facts at his command and everything. He is not exactly Mr. Excitement. Okay? Very, very low key. I won't use the word that Chris Wallace used to describe it. But, yeah, extremely low key. And I thought, and honestly going into the debate, I thought, I was a little bit hesitant because I knew that Kamala Harris has personality, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that she would dominate that way. Now, as you can and I and everyone with two brain cells to rub together knows, the winner of a debate should be determined by who had the better facts and who was better at presenting those facts. But that's not the way it is. We know that it's all about who was able to throw out the biggest zingers and who looked presidential and who acted presidential and who was sometimes more attractive, a lot of different things. And I had to, as I was watching the debate with you on TECN TV, which is where everybody should be for the next debate and certainly for election night coverage.
Exactly.
I was trying to combine both of them, the facts and the personality together. And I was worried about Pence to start off with because he did start off slow and he does tend to trail off with his answers, even though he does give very good answers. But by the end of the debate, it was obvious Mike Pence had better command of the facts. Mike Pence was not telling lies. He had much more aplomb. There were things, no, I did not see the fly that landed on his head, but that's my vision.
Yep.
But I did see some of the things that Kamala Harris was doing as the debate was going on with the grinning and stuff like that. There were some other things that I've heard other-sided people talking about that she did that I didn't see, but I did see her kind of antsy, moving around and things of that nature. And I know that this affects people's opinions about who wins a debate. And that is why I put all that together and I came out to say, okay, in a sense, it was a dead heat. It was a draw. But given Mike Pence's lack of electricity, his lack of personal electricity, the win had to go to him. And that was clinched earlier today when the Election Commission got hold of both the campaigns and said, oh, hey, the next presidential debate is going to be virtual. To me, that was a huge signal that they saw that Mike Pence won that debate, and they know now that they have to give Joe Biden every possible opportunity that there is to win the next debate. This way, if it's virtual, he can sit in front of his computer and he can look at the teleprompter and be fed answers and things of that nature. And that was, as I said, clearest indication to me that even though MSNBC, CNN, the usual suspects all said that Mike Pence lost, they know he actually won.
I concur with you that he won that debate. I put it this way. He was very surgical, or if you take a look at what the role of a surgeon is, to dissect an individual, find the infection, pull it out of the body, and then return the body to its normal stasis. He did a very good job revealing just the liar that Kamala Harris is. And just the lies from the left. He did that by using both the moderator as well as Kamala Harris to do it. That's why I think of him as a surgical strike. He was able to do something that Donald Trump isn't going to be able to do. He provided that calmness in the midst of the storm. He provided surgical strikes directly at, and we'll talk about that as we go on, at Kamala Harris and Biden and the left. And at the same time, he was able to convey his heartfelt love for the American people and for this great nation. He was very sincere not disingenuous as as Kamala Harris was when it came to the young lady who had been kidnapped, raped, and killed by ISIS because of the lethargic nature of the Obama administration regarding military strikes of the enemy. Certainly not citizens. He didn't mind killing citizens, but enemy, nah, he wasn't into that. And in addition to that, she was filled with style, pomp, and circumstance, but she certainly wasn't filled with substance. And I just want to say this to you because I know that you put this on SHR Media, where you broadcast on a weekly basis, and as well sometimes you play it on English Defense League with Blog Talk Radio. I just want to say 5 things that I got from last night, and you can tell me if I'm over the top with this. These are the 5 things I got. Number 1, Kamala, that weave does not work. Try again. That wig, weave, whatever it wasn't working for your hair. You can see it. You need to straighten that thing out the next time you get in public. Number 2, Kamala is incompetent on the economy and foreign policy. Number 3, Kamala is a poor model of American justice. Number 4, Kamala is inspired by creepy old Uncle Joe. And then number 5, Kamala proves that she can smile in your face while she lies. Did I miss anything there, sir?
Well, there was an old Motown song. And you just used some of the lyrics that, frankly, Kel Fritzy and I used to use on a briefly live show we had called Islam Exposed as the theme for it, and it's called The Backstabbers. All right? Yeah. You know, they smile in your face all the time. They want to take your place. And that was her. Mm-hmm. She came loaded up for some things, overloaded for some things. And she had very prepared attacks and prepared responses. But I have to say that Vice President Pence nailed her talking about that young lady in Iraq. Okay, she wasn't expecting that one. All right, that was just like she was jogging down the track.
Oh my God! Did you see her facial expression? She was in complete daze. It was like, oh my God! Remember the show they used to have, This Is Your Life, and they bring out somebody at the end you didn't know. That's exactly the way she looked.
Oh, certainly. And just the overpreparedness of her, and you're absolutely right, the disingenuousness. Mary Brockman in the chat room says that she does not like her smile. She can't stand her phony smile, and that's what it was. That's how it looked. At least that's how it looked to me. And I now got somebody cited who confirms that, and a few other people have said that. And that is a big reason right there. I could tell just from her doing that more than once. I didn't know was she trying to come on to him or through the plexiglass or what was going on. But I could tell there were going to be a lot of women around the nation who were going to say, nah. So yeah, that debate was a win for Pence, whether the lefty media admits it or not. And of course, they never will.
Can I also, and let me just interject here, Dave, and we're talking to Dave Milner, the Unpleasant Blind Guy, better known for English Defense League, a marvel at the conservative speak. I just want to say, she may have done something last night that no other candidate could have possibly done. Number 1, she turned off black women. And the reason why I say that she turned off black women don't like phony women. They don't like phony women at all. And she looked exposed phony. Number 2, she may have turned off anyone who thought she was competent enough to be president of the United States. If you're thinking, if something happens to Donald Trump, I have Mike Pence, I'm a bit more comfortable. if you think if anything happens to Joe Biden, we got Kamala Harris. And that guarantees you 8 years of Joe Biden. Just like Obama said, the best choice I could have made for vice president was Joe Biden. The offhanded remark behind that was, nobody was going to assassinate me. There you go.
Yeah, I remember that. And that's absolutely right, because even the craziest, most insane assassin would not want to unleash Joe Biden on the country, as bad as Obama was. And yeah, I think you're absolutely right. The one who came out of this looking presidential was absolutely Mike Pence. I really believe that. I mean, and as I said, it was very much like the Kennedy-Nixon debates in a way. If all you did was listen to it, Mike Pence would have won. If you listened to it and looked at it again, Mike Pence would have won. And I think you're right about Kamala Harris's phoniness, and she really doesn't seem to be ready for prime time when it comes to the major issues. She was armed up, dropped lock, and ready to rock on the Wuhan virus, but not much else. Everything else was pretty much standard Democrat fare, and more or less, Mike Pence just knocked her down on it.
Can I tell you?
Going forward, I would say to President Trump, I'll give him the same advice that a lot of other conservatives are giving him. You know, if you get into more debates with Joe Biden, give him the time for that dementia to creep in, because it will. He won't be able to talk for more than about 30 to 45 seconds before you begin to see him. Even if he does have a teleprompter in front of him, which they're going to try and make sure that happens regardless.
You know, I wanted to give credit to Mike Pence for several lines that he used regarding her great defense, emotional defense over COVID, which was all that it was. It had no facts to it. And she never once blamed China. She blamed Donald Trump for the Wuhan virus. The first thing he said is stop politicizing people's lives. Stop playing politics with people's lives. And he hit her, and it was like a bam moment. She got dazed again. And you can see in her face, she wasn't expecting that kind of punch from Mike Pence. The other thing that Mike Pence stated was that the Biden plan sounded a whole lot like the Trump plan, that he was so used to plagiarizing that he did it again regarding the Trump plan regarding COVID. He did a wonderful job on that particular statement. And then finally, one of the things that he pointed out to her is that Harris voted against USMCA. Harris also voted for climate change. She was a co-sponsor. He showed step after step after step that she was lying about fracking. She was lying about mandating on masks. And she was also lying on other aspects of the campaign. She's a liar. And he just pinpointed out that she doesn't have the caliber of someone who's credible to be president. So I want to ask you here. One of the things that people are looking for and watching for, and you mentioned the fact that people are trying now to give cover to Joe Biden in the next one, which is why they want him to stay in the basement and broadcast from Zoom. What is it that Joe Biden can do, since he lost the Trump debate, even though Trump was quote-unquote rude to him, and as well, Kamala Harris lost the debate to Mike Pence. What can he do, to turn all of that around in this next one debate?
Well, he's going to have to stay relevant to the facts. He's going to say the one thing that he does know how to do, Ken, and this is a big reason why he doesn't answer questions on the campaign trail and why he didn't answer questions in the debate with Trump. He's got just enough brain power left to understand job one when it comes to politics 101, which is stay on message. And his message is the Wuhan virus was President Trump's fault. The thing that President Trump is going to need to do is what Mike Pence did. Okay, he's going to have to press politely. He's going to have to press Joe Biden to answer some questions. All right, he's going to have to knock Joe Biden off of his stay on message game. Mm-hmm. And that, of course, is going to be more difficult to do if it's a virtual event because Joe Biden will be being fed the answers, as we all know.
Yep.
But I still think that it's an attack worth putting on. And again, we've seen that after a while, if President Trump gives Joe Biden enough time, he begins to falter even at reading the teleprompter. There's audio evidence of him saying, no, move it up there, completely out of context. And what that meant, of course, was that the teleprompter operator needed to move the text up so that he could keep reading it. All right, that's what he's going to need to do. And there's really nothing else that he can do at this stage.
Exactly. I want to, I like to use sport analogies at the dismissal of Mary Brockman, my bouncer-in-chief. And if you diss her, you diss me, you will be, whoop, 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 dismissed in that chat roll. The analogy of the Rumble in the Jungle, you remember that fight between Muhammad Ali and George Foreman, and the ropes were loose.
Classic.
And it was a balmy, hot, sticky night. And he stood in the corner on the ropes and he allowed George Foreman to just hit and hit and hit and hit. And eventually it got to the point where George Foreman was out of power. He had nothing he could really do. And then all of a sudden the turbojets turned on for Muhammad Ali. And the next thing you know, George Foreman is falling to the ground. The Rumble in the Jungle. And last night, Mike Pence, and you and I were in the chat roll, and this is where everybody should be for the next debate, because it's a great chat roll conversations that go on there. But the bottom line is, Mike Pence drew her in over and over and over again to show how shallow she really was as a debater, as a marketable presidential candidate, as someone who has sincerity. He really allowed her to take as many shots as she could, and then he just came out and started swinging away, and she was down. Down goes Frazier, down goes Frazier. And the only thing that the left could say was that she was cute, she looked nice, her pearls were good, but she had no substance. Are the American people willing to trust the Supreme Court to people without substance?
Well, it's very interesting that you asked that question. See, the thing with debates now, as opposed to debates way back when you saw the debate and you got your first impression and that's what you ran with. Now, when it comes to the debates, and they've moved on from that now to the next debate and to this very interestingly timed story about Governor Whitmer. Okay, but in modern times, you have the debate and you have a chance to get your first impressions, and you just heard mine, and then you have the spin, okay, and that's what's worked on when it comes to things like this. And I think it really highly depends on how freely people are thinking about things and how plugged in they are to whichever news source. And sadly, the fake stream media really seem to be pulling for Biden. But I do have a modicum of good news. one of the things that I've been seeing over about the past week and a half, 2 weeks, has been this constant banging of the doom drum.
Yeah.
Oh, look at all these polls. Trump's doing horribly. He's behind by double digits. And I can tell you that that is not mirroring some of the opinion polls that are out there. Now, the election polls are different from opinion polls. And opinion polls have a lot of people beginning to support President Trump. More people beginning to support him than the current polls suggest. Now, I know you don't like to hear me talk about other shows and other hosts.
Oh, sure I do.
I will say that Steve Dace said something very fascinating about the current crop of polls. All the polls that you've heard of, Fox News polls, and some of the others. Okay, now Dace is he's a research guy. He's a numbers guy. He gets in there and digs around, and he kind of does what I like to do, what you like to do.
Yeah.
Honestly. And he dug into these polls, and he said, given what opinion polls are concerning President Trump and Biden, of course, and all of that, given all of the opinion polls that he's been hearing about what people think about various issues and whatnot versus the election polls, Steve Dace is saying that the election polls are beginning to look to him a lot like the Imperial College model for the Wuhan virus. In other words, sketchy. To the us. All right. So there's something going on with the polls, and he seems to be catching it early, and I'm getting that feeling too. But to the people who are listening and watching this now, of course it's going to be a little bit late on the 11th when this is on my page, at the Unpleasant Blind Guy page at Spreaker.com. All right, to the people who are watching now, I would say don't fall for the doom and gloom, because the polls are not making statistical sense.
I would concur with you in that, and I wanted to abridge that for those who are listening right now on the 11th, as we're doing this show, October the 8th, and about 3 weeks out before the election, the Ken McClinton TECN poll says that Donald Trump will win in a landslide against Joe Biden, along the way of a Mike Dukakis sweep of the battleground states. In addition to that, there may be questions now as to whether Donald Trump should be using the military to pat out or pat down insurrection in places like Portland and Seattle, Los Angeles, Dallas, Atlanta, D.C., New York, Chicago, where leftists have been working since early this summer on plans to cause disruption if the election doesn't go the way they plan it. And in fact, Mike Pence made it very clear last night that if they don't get their way regarding the Supreme Court, they will pack the court. If they don't get their way regarding the tax program, they will find a way to hit at those people who are wealthy at the state level. So the bottom line is that the left is disharmonious. Their intent is to cause riot, looting, and all types of other destruction, and with the expectation that there might be even loss of life after this election. And so I'm praying for the people right now to keep the peace, to keep the calm, to accept the peaceful continuance of the Trump administration, and also, ladies and gentlemen, for people to begin thinking through why Democrat Marxism doesn't work in America and why you can't win a presidential election. You're not going to be able to do it, and America will be different 30 years from now as a result of your selfish ambitions for the overthrow of the United States of America, including Hillary Clinton being outed this week by the CIA that she was responsible for Russiagate.
Well, I like what you said there, Ken, and I agree with, and I'm with you in your prayer for the safety of the American people. All right, because I've said this before, and I stick by it. Whether you like Trump or not, all right, this election really is not about him. Okay, this election is about whether or not the riots and the lootings and the beatings of innocent people and the burning down of buildings and things of that nature become the new normal. If Harris-Biden, might as well just go ahead and say that, wins this election, that will be the new normal, because the left will know at that point that they succeeded through domestic terror. All right, if that is the kind of country you want, then by all means, stay home or vote for someone other than President Trump. If you want a country where everyone can live together in peace and prosperity, then you need to vote for President Trump. Whether you like him or not, whether you like his tweets or not, whether you like his personality or not, whether you like that he's a bit crass or not. All right, it's not about President Trump. It really has now become about the basic and fundamental survival of our country.
Yeah. One quick question for you before you leave, Dave. Should Donald Trump in the next debate ask Joe Biden about the meeting he had on January 5th, 2016 in the White House, in the Oval Office, with James Comey, with Susan Rice, and with President Obama, and as well some other members of his cabinet regarding Russiagate and spying on the Trump campaign? Should he ask that question of Joe Biden?
I think it's a great question to ask, because one of the bits of commentary that I've heard since last night's debate was that a big reason that Pence won was because he brought up issues that the American people on the whole had not even heard of before. Many people did not know really any details of the whole Russia BS and impeachment nonsense about a phone call and all this other stuff that went on. These are people, Ken, who work for a living and have lives to lead, and they only have maybe an hour a day to absorb any news. All right, so they don't dig into it the way that we do.
Yeah.
And they did not have those details about Biden and Obama and Clinton and all of those people. So, yes, I would say would be a very good question for President Trump to ask. And I just want to conclude by saying, I want to thank you once again for giving me an opportunity to be with you on TECN TV. Looking forward to next week, and definitely looking forward to election night coverage. It's going to be awesome. God bless you, brother.
God bless you, brother. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. Dave Milner, ladies and gentlemen, what a wonderful man, a tremendous orator, and a great, great commentator. Ladies and gentlemen, the words of Donald Trump, President of the United States of America, regarding Charlottesville. And trust me, it's not the narrative lie that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are spreading.
Thank you. I'm in Washington today to meet with my economic team about trade policy and major tax cuts and reform. We are renegotiating trade deals and making them good for the American worker, and it's about time. Our economy is now strong. The stock market continues to hit record highs. Unemployment is at a 16-year low, and businesses are more optimistic than ever before. Companies are moving back to the United States and bringing many thousands of jobs with them. We have already created over 1 million jobs since I took office. We will be discussing economic issues in greater detail later this afternoon, but based on the events that took place over the weekend in Charlottesville, Virginia, I would like to provide the nation with an update on the ongoing federal response to the horrific attack and violence that was witnessed by everyone. I just met with FBI Director Christopher Wray and Attorney General Jeff Sessions. The Department of Justice has opened a civil rights investigation into the deadly car attack that killed one innocent American and wounded 20 others. To anyone who acted criminally in this weekend's racist violence, you will be held fully accountable. Justice will be delivered. As I said on Saturday, we condemn in the strongest possible terms this egregious display of hatred, bigotry, and violence. It has no place in America. And as I have said many times before, no matter the color of our skin, we all live under the same laws. We all salute the same great flag, and we are all made by the same Almighty God. We must love each other, show affection for each other, and unite together in condemnation of hatred, bigotry, and violence. We must rediscover the bonds of love and loyalty that bring us together as Americans. Racism is evil, and those who cause violence in its name are criminals and thugs, including the KKK, neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and other hate groups that are repugnant to everything we hold dear as Americans. We are a nation founded on the truth that all of us are created equal. We are equal in the eyes of our Creator. We are equal under the law, and we are equal under our Constitution. Those who spread violence in the name of bigotry strike at the very core of America. 2 days ago, a young American woman, Heather Heyer, was tragically killed. Her death fills us with grief, and we send her family our thoughts, our prayers, and our love. We also mourn the 2 Virginia state troopers who died in service to their community, their Commonwealth, and their country. Troopers Jay Cullen and Burke Bates exemplify the very best of America, and our hearts go out to their families, their friends, and every member of American law enforcement. These 3 fallen Americans embody the goodness and decency of our nation. In times such as these, America has always shown its true character, responding to hate with love, division with unity, and violence with an unwavering resolve for justice. As a candidate, I promise to restore law and order to our country, and our federal law enforcement agencies are following through on that pledge. We will spare no resource in fighting so that every American child can grow up free from violence and fear. We will defend and protect the sacred rights of all Americans, and we will work together so that every citizen in this blessed land is free to follow their dreams in their hearts and to express the love and joy in their souls. Thank you. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you very much.
And I've been speaking for a period of time. Forgive me, I do apologize. But I wanted you all to know that those are the words of the President of the United States of America. And in this particular hour when we're in great need, we should not surrender ourselves to the narrative of the left that's filled with a great deal of lies and discontent. Be tossed to and fro with every false wind of doctrine.
Still no sound.
We must, ladies and gentlemen, proceed in doing that which is right, not in our own eyes, but in the eyes of God. From all of us at TECN TV, the Exceptional Conservative Show, with all of our technical issues and problems, I am very thankful that God is giving us this platform to preach the good news of Christianity, conservatism, capitalism, constitutionalism, and also individual sovereignty. May it envelop urban America so that change can truly come to those who need it most. From all of us at TECN TV, we wish you a very, very good night and look forward to your return tomorrow night when we'll be interviewing Michael Beatrice regarding COVID-19 and the dramatic psychological as well as other destructive measures of the lockdowns. If you don't remember anything else I said tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you do remember this. God bless America. It is now time for America to bless God. Good night, and God bless each and every one of you.